Hey everyone, welcome back to Side 9. I'm Riala.
And I'm Fulminatus.
Recently, fellow content creator and Gundam card player Talking Cards with Garrett made a video about his disappointments with the card quality and meta impact that GD02 Dual Impact has.
As we do with most Gundam content creators, we made sure to watch that video, and we found ourselves disagreeing with a few points of his. From reading the comments on it, a few of you may also disagree with Garrett's takeaway. However, we believe this is a great opportunity to have a constructive conversation about different expectations in Gundam Card Game. While this set may not have been what Garrett was hoping for, it is what we here at Side 9 had been hoping for. But before we become known for picking fights on the internet, we always appreciate a like and subscribe. If you have your own takes on GD02 or the current outlook on the Gundam Card Game, please let us know in the comments.
Of course, we believe Garrett is a great content creator and obviously is a very accomplished player. So the intent here is not to make a call-out post or to stir drama, but more so to give an alternate take. Here at Side 9, we're lifelong card game players, much like Garrett.
Since this is a response to Garrett's takes, we'd like to ask that you please watch his video first, linked in this card here. While we'll be playing the relevant snippets, we really want you to know the original context, as we'd hate for anyone we respond to be misrepresented.
Alright, let's get rolling. Our response to the truth about GD02 Dual Impact.
GD02 and ST06 clan. So ST06 clan introduced a whole new archetype that's really cool and also has support within the set. However, it's not a complete deck. We just missed the mark. It's so close to being a deck. But the fact that we don't have any 2/2s or anything like that that are clans or any low-level units that really are impactful, it really holds back the clan stuff from being a really good deck and a really consistent deck at that. Like, there's pieces. Like, this archetype could be really good in the future. It's just not really good right now. And between the ST06 starter deck and GD02 Dual Impact, there's just not enough to make it work. I'm hoping in the future we get more support that makes it work.
We're starting by talking about Clan, a fun topic. Clan is pretty notable as far as archetypes in Gundam are concerned, as it's the clearest form of something that is relatively locked to its archetype. Between Red Gundam, Machu, Booster G-Quux, and wanting your Shuji links, even the smallest package wants the majority of your deck to be Clan.
Garrett's main claim here is that the deck lacks early game options, a point that we largely agree with. However, just because a lot of the archetype wants clan doesn't mean that it completely stops us from playing out of archetype support pieces. Our build from our most recent video is playing 2 copies of a generic 2-1-2-2 and 4 copies of Wing Gundam Bird Mode to help us get to Booster G-Quux faster, all without a significant lowering of consistency for clan related AP pumps or finding targets offset G-Quux or Machu. But every deck has to have some weakness, so clan may struggle turns 1 through 3, but the mid-game payoff is worth it.
It's just these things don't have the support needed. And then let's look at something like the Oz stuff with Epyon, right? This was introduced in GD01, and now we got Epyon, and it's like Epyon still isn't good enough to impact all the Oz stuff that was already there, because the Oz stuff in the beginning wasn't that good. Zex is still good. I do like the new Tallgeese. I think that's a real unit, but it's like their pieces aren't aligned yet. I do think in the future sets, some of this stuff could really, really pop off. But I think when we're looking at the meta and we're looking at the way Gundam is being played competitively, we were hoping GD02 would be a much more impactful set.
Garrett also starts the discussion on Oz support by leading with Epyon, which is a White Fang card. End of argument. Okay, to be fair, the thread to Oz is apparent with Epyon requiring linking with Zex, which is an Oz pilot. However, Epyon itself isn't beholden to Oz as an archetype, much like Wing Zero isn't mired in Operation Meteor even though it's a G-Team card.
You should get into stand-up foam. But, in all seriousness, Epyon itself is an example of a card with impact in the set. It has performed well in our testing, is putting up significant results in Japan, and has had enough fan support for Gravityi to write a 4,400 word primer on a version of Blue-White Control. It is linked in our description to give it a look if you are interested.
Here's an idea. What if archetypes are designed not as standalone decks, but as packages to be played in synergy with other archetypes? I suspect this is the reason why the 2-color deck building restriction is in place, and the design of the set sure seems to reinforce this idea.
Even in Green-White Wing Zero, a consistent baseline used in Garrett's video, we see the melding of green Operation Meteor with White Earth Alliance. The early blocker package helps supplement and buy time to reach the high end of starter Wing Gundam and Wing Gundam Zero.
Incredible analysis, my boy Midnight Rya. I could truly never have done it without you and your intelligence, smooth social skills, and amazing look. You're the greatest. Did you really put that in the script for me?
The problem is, a lot of archetypes this set are having that same problem. Let's look at Titans. We get Psycho Gundam, we get 4. These are interesting cards that do interesting things. However, it needs more support. Psycho Gundam on itself isn't that crazy of a card. Yeah, it has Breach, yeah, it can draw you a card, yeah, it can heal and stay around. But it's not that hard right now to do 6 damage. So it kind of forces you to want to play blue-white instead of something that more like blue-red in it. Because if that Psycho Gundam can only survive 1 turn, it's not getting the value, it's not having the impact that you would hope it would have throughout a game. I mean, you gotta remember, Green-White just got a brand new level 4, cost 3 unit in Gundam Heavy Arms that gets to look at the top card of its deck and then either put it to the bottom or keep it at the top. But it's also a Hero UE link. So that means it can be a 6/6 unit on turn 4. Psycho Gundam's coming out at, turn 6 doing that. And it's just such an easy answer to Psycho Gundam and one of the most popular decks that people are playing right now in Green-White.
We see Garrett talk about how Psycho Gundam is not an impressive card, mainly on the back that a hero-linked Gundam Heavy Arms can cleanly deal with it at a lower cost and level. But let's zoom into the Psycho Gundam play pattern really quick. A linked Psycho Gundam, assuming a rested target to swing into in a Hyzak or MA mode, deals with a unit, breaches 3 to the base or takes a shield, repairs 2 at the very least in the process, and if that wasn't already enough, 4 is giving you a card back if you meet hand requirements.
So let's assume the opponent does have a linked hero and heavy arms ready to strike Psycho Gundam down. They play the linked unit and rush into Psycho Gundam, trading the 2 units.
My Psycho Gundam is gone, but I'm still up on the trade since I have refunded 1 of my cards, breached a shield or base, and have taken out another unit during my own link play, at the measly resource cost delta of 1.
This gets into a greater card analysis issue that we see when evaluating cards, and this doesn't just apply to Garrett. Any card is bad when it's assumed that your opponent has the exact cleanest answer to it, but that isn't how we play or evaluate cards. Sure, your green-white opponent give up 1 of 4 copies of hero and a heavy arms to deal with the threat the turn after it comes out, or they could just realistically be on several of their 16 blocker package, at which point Psycho Gundam quickly becomes an absolute house. Cards don't exist in a vacuum, and this doesn't even touch the threat Psycho Gundam poses to other decks that want to play low-to-the-ground units.
Overall, this is a modified dies to removal argument. It hasn't worked for years in other card games, and it doesn't work well in Gundam Card Game either. It's time we stop using it.
I think when we look at the 4 categories, bases, pilots, commands, units, that we'll all agree that it's not as impactful as we hoped. Like when we look at set 1, there is not a pilot in this set that is better than Amuro, Ray, or Kira. And these were in, starter decks, I understand, but it was the set 1 meta. But there's nothing better than those in this set. And that's unfortunate to me.
1, you could just make cards better and better all the time.
Bad. How do you feel about that, Mon?
That's not good.
There's this really peculiar moment in the last third of this video where Garrett talks about wanting a pilot in the set that is better than ST01 Amuro Ray or ST04 Kira Yamato. And I just had to pause. What would that even look like?
Of course, that's more of a joke, as we think it's fair to say that Garrett isn't explicitly calling for enhanced versions of Amuro or Kira, but more so pilots that are widely played in more decks, or exist on a power scale that is the same, or some combination of those traits while also having plenty and versatile linkies.
We have several examples of pilots that have found success in decks in the GD02 format already, including but not limited to Former Asame, repeatable value to cap out aggro.
Mikazuki August, ping damage off a unit that enables dangerous link units.
Avant Card, see above.
Machu, tempo synergy deck that gets deeper while enabling its value.
These are all very serviceable, best in slot pilots that if they don't match the rate of Amuro Kira in a vacuum, are definitely offering enough for their own deck and synergies to be able to compete with them in the same tier.
Subject, before I wrap this up, let's go over the purple stuff, because I do think purple and red got like the biggest boost, right? Like, yeah, I'm saying green, white, blue, white just got better because of Rick Diaz, and I totally think they did. And I think Rick Diaz is the most impactful card in the set, unfortunately. But I do think purple got better. It got more consistent. The new Barbados that can come out on level 3 only costs 2. When damaged, when it attacks, gets to draw a card. Card is really good. I like that card. But I don't know that it puts purple-blue over the top. I do think it can maybe, you know, play along tier 1, tier 2, you know, and saying tier 1's green, white, and green, blue. I do think it's somewhere in there, just like red blue. And red blue got, you know, all range attack I think is really good. The command that can ping 1 to everything that's not a link unit also has a burst of a ping.
Also, to start on the point of no new decks for the meta, we've introduced a whole new color, with at least 2 shells that are cracking the meta. Garrett himself admits this. We aren't going to harp too hard on this, but it does feel strange to make our starting point, the set has minimal impact, to only gloss over one of the most apparent points of impact.
We understand that perhaps Garrett wanted more out of these individual archetypes, such as blue-purple tempo being absolutely explosive, or maybe another color combination that wasn't previously good rise up the ranks. Seeing more discussion that qualifies this position would have done a lot for us in finding out where our expectations and Garrett's divert, but with nothing else to go on, we agree that blue-purple and blue-red builds seem strong this set.
And I think when we start looking at all this stuff, like even the units, there's not a unit in this set that's as good as Wing Zero. Wing Zero takes nothing. It just, you play it down, you deal 3 damage to everything that's level 5 or less, and it has high maneuver, and it's a 5/7. Doesn't need a pilot, doesn't need anything. It's always gonna do everything it can. And there's not as many impactful units in this set like that.
In linear resource-based card games like Gundam, it is important to note that cards operate on a sliding scale that weighs their power relative to other cards playable at that point in the game. A very basic example here is the differences between the Gem, Strike Dagger, and Rizel clones. For the difference in 1 cost, but no level, you get an extra AP. For the difference in 1 level and 1 cost, you get a +2 AP plus 1 HP pump.
With this way of balancing cards and costs in mind, it's no stretch to imagine why the card with the highest level and highest cost in the game will end up being the strongest individual card. But that's a vacuum comparison. Just because Wing Zero is bigger than RX-78 does not make it innately a better card.
We can mention some cards that absolutely do a lot relative to their overall level and cost though. Rizel et al. Gross stat line.
RX-78, gross stat line that becomes very overspec with its link.
Kshatriya, also a gross stat line with a ping setup and link that continually pressures the board.
Freedom Gundam, an incredible blocker, a great link, a high impact effect, and it's really, really fucking cool.
You know, and I do think Hamon's good as a pilot because it says just a red pilot and it can ping 1. It's a level 5, so it's a little later, unfortunately. And then Quibbly is really good, but it's a level 7. So it's like red-blue last set was in this weird range where it was like playing pretty fast. You know, level 7's kind of a long time to really impact things the way you want to. I still think it's a fantastic card and I think someone can make it work. This video is not saying what will and won't work this set. It's saying that I don't think the immediate impact is as impactful on the competitive play of the format as I wanted it to be.
So we're absolutely serious about not picking a fight, and we know as well as anyone about the YouTube hustle. But we do want to give a little bit of pushback on the blanketing here with I'm not trying to say what is or isn't good, whereas in a lot of the rest of this video, it absolutely does come across as if what is or isn't good has already been determined. It can feel a little weird to have that qualification 3/4 of the way into a video.
While every good video needs a catchy title, to walk back on this being the truth of GD02 feels a little wishy-washy. However, this is simply a point of critique. Garrett obviously isn't positioning himself as the arbiter of truth or anything, so this is also our way of poking at the clickbait.
Like we said at the beginning of this video, please don't interpret this response video as an attack on Garrett personally or whatever else people out there on the drama side of YouTube do. Garrett is a great community pillar, player, and friend of the channel. It just turns out we disagree with his opinion on Set 2 and thought we'd make a video on the topic, as two players who like Set 2 a lot.
That's all for now. Our next video will be less confrontational. Don't worry, response videos will be few and far in between on this channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you
Next mission.
I'm still net decking the fuck out of his wing deck though.
I think we can look back at set 1 and say we had a pretty good meta. Yes, it was wing dominant. Yes, it was green-blue dominant. But like red-blue was super competitive, even the deck of choice at one point in the meta. Blue-white was the original best deck in the format at the very beginning of the format and beta format. And it's like we had 4 real nice pillars. People could kind of play between these 4 decks and do well and expect to do well. GD02 and SG06 clan. So SG06 clan introduced a whole new archetype that's really cool. Zex is still good. I do like the new Tall Geese. I think that's a real unit. I do think purple got better. It got more consistent. The new Barbados that can come out on level 3 only costs 2. When damaged, when it attacks, gets to draw a card. Card is really good. I like that card. Red blue, and red blue got, you know, all range attack. I think is really good. The command. I do think Hamon's good as a pilot because it says just a red pilot and it can ping 1. And then Quibbly is really good, but it's a level 7. So it's like